In this video, I'm going to show you how you can loot lock up to 7 enemies at Dunwich BORERS. And if you're not familiar with Dunwich BORERS, it's over here by Saugus Ironworks, Hub City Auto Wreckers, basically far east of Sanctuary and your starting areas. However, you don't want to jump right over here right away because the enemies here that you're loot locking are all leveled enemies, meaning they're going to be whatever level you are. So if you're a low level, they're going to be a low level, and therefore you wouldn't be able to get your good stuff. So you want to wait until you're at least probably level 50 or higher. I believe that's when you can start getting your really nice high-end gear like miniguns and Gatling lasers and gauze rifles. So you want to head over to Dunwich BORERS and come down into the mine. When you get here, there's some raiders outside you got to clear out. And then enter the mine itself, and I'm going off an autosave because if you notice I said up to 7 enemies here. So the reason I say that is because there's 5 that are guaranteed. When you come down here, there's this trap here, you want to make sure you get that. But there's 5 that you can guarantee to loot lock a legendary at. And there's 2 of them that are possibly legendary, and you're not gonna know until you're fairly far in. Now there's another trap right here you want to watch out for, and there's a bit of story on these terminals you can check out too. But you want to keep going down here for the loot locking portion of it. Now I've never seen any of these raiders spawn as legendary, and I've tested quite a few times, but I would assume if any of them did, if any of these raiders did spawn as legendary, they would probably be the one that you would loot lock. Another terminal here. But you want to keep on going. Like I said, I've never had any of them spawn as legendary. And the first ones that you can loot lock are some ghouls that are down here just past this area, and we'll get to that. So keep coming down, and right here you got another terminal. This is Bedlam's terminal. But over here on this armor workbench there's a magazine, so you want to make sure you grab that. Take 5% less damage from robots. There's also a steamer trunk over here with some loot in it. Don't want to pass that up. An ammo box down there. So, good stuff. Now, coming up here, this is where your first loot lockable enemies are going to be. Now, I said up to 7. If this guy is legendary, he is possibly loot lockable, and I say possibly because I've had him sometimes be loot lockable and sometimes not. I have no clue what determines whether they are or are not loot lockable. And then this is another one that can be loot lockable. If he spawns as a legendary over here on the left, I've had him legendary and I was not able to loot lock him, but it may be a case of sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. I have no idea. But this one here, he is at times. Never-ending automatic assault or combat rifle. So that's actually a pretty good rifle, and I'd probably keep that. But just for the purpose of this video, I'll go ahead and reload my autosave showing that you can loot lock him. However, not always. So I'm not sure what determines whether they can or can't, but the only way to loot lock this one is to go off of your autosave. So you want to make your hard save outside of Dunwich BORERS if you plan on loot locking this guy. And then if one of the two, the guy on the right or this one, are not a legendary, then you would have to reload your hard save. And if they are, then if you want a different item off of them, well, then you'd have to reload your hard save again. And if you get an item that you like, but not the effect, then you load your auto save.
Hey, wait there.
And that's why one of the other reasons I say up to 7, because you may not want to take the time to go all the way back through again, clear out all of these guys and make your way all the way back down to them. But in my opinion, I think it is probably worth it, seeing as farming spots are limited, and you know, it's another loot lockable spot, so, and they're high level spots. You know, you got your National Guard training yard, which is pretty much low level guys. You've got, you know, the abandoned house by Bunker Hill, that's high level, but also rather hit or miss as to whether there's going to be a legendary there. So you got, I mean, you got your farming spots, but like I said, they're limited, and so it may be worthwhile to go ahead and run through again and get that extra loot locked enemy here. So just make sure if you do go back that you grab your magazine again.
Nice.
Don't want to forget that. And yeah, like I said, I've had this guy over here on the right be loot lockable, and the one up here that is currently loot locked. I would really like to know why sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't, so if anybody watching this does know why, please leave a comment and let me know. I would love to know. I'm curious about it, so. There we go. This time he's got Hitman's automatic combat rifle, so that shows you it is loot locked. Although I'd probably go ahead and go with that never ending. That's pretty decent for a combat rifle. Now, the next spot where you can loot lock is actually this circuit breaker, but I'm going to go ahead and skip this one and come back to it, and I'll show you why in just a little bit here. Go ahead and take that guy out. And the next spot is here, so you want to make a hard save before opening this door. And I apologize for the audio quality. I know it's not great. I'm playing on a PlayStation 4 and using a headset, but as you open this door, it goes into this flashback. Now you want to be careful and you want to stop right at the top of this ramp, and as it flashes, you make your quick save. And don't go forward till the lights shut off. Now this is the guy here that you want to be legendary. If he's not, go ahead and reload your hard save. Excuse me. And this guy, I've had the most trouble, I think, out of all of them, other than maybe the first one, with not spawning a legendary. I've had it take quite a few times sometimes. Sometimes he's a legendary the very first time. Sometimes he'll be a legendary after, you know, 1 or 2 reloads, but sometimes it'll actually take up to 8 or 10 loads before he becomes legendary. Just make sure you make a quick save and don't go forward. Okay, see, that time 1 load and he turned legendary, so. It's funny too, when they're legendary, you can actually see them if they have a gun. You can see them drop the gun. reload the quick save in a second here. I saw it drop there if you guys didn't. So we got lucky calibrated powerful 10mm pistol. Okay. So once you get an item that you like, you can reload the quick save. If you don't have an item that you like, reload your hard save. Go until you get one that you like. And you may also want to not spend a lot of time on this one, because you're not going to know at this point whether or not one of the guys is a legendary at one point. Just, oh yes, and make sure you don't go forward too far, or what happens is you trigger the next spawn group, and then you'll miss out on an opportunity to loot lock them if you go forward before the lights are off. There we go, never-ending calibrated powerful 10mm pistol. So there you go, proof that's loot locked. And then the next spot would be at this circuit breaker, but I'm going to go ahead and skip that one also to go on ahead, I should say, to see if one of the named guys up here is a legendary or not, because, and that's why I say you may not want to spend too much time on that one, because you're not going to know whether or not they are legendary until you get down here. And the only way to change it is to reload your autosave. And I had thought that, oh, and you may not want to do that if you got a good item from the first guy too, if you got the item that you want, because when you reload your autosave, it's going to change the prefix on whatever they have if they are loot locked. But it kind of sucks. The only way you'll know if one of these is a legendary is to get all the way down here. Now also you want to grab this sneak bobblehead, which is right here next to terminal number 4, so don't skip that. And then you continue on up here, and then you want to make a hard save here on this ramp heading down to this cave. And at this point, it's already determined whether or not one of these guys is going to be a legendary. So you enter this little flashback and you want to be ready. And as it flashes white, make a quick save. So we got 4 named ghouls down here. Okay, so John Hatfield this time is a legendary. And I made a previous video called another example of loot locking at Dunwich BORERS, and I incorrectly stated that John Hatfield will always be legendary because I was going off of one playthrough at that point, so I didn't know yet. So he's got a cunning leather right arm. So say I want a leather right arm, but I want a different effect on it, I can reload the quick save. And I know for sure too also that my loot pool is pretty small right now for armor effects, so it's quite possible that I could get cunning again. And also for some reason with weapons, it tends to, the first time you reload, have the same effect that it had the very first time. So if that happens, it may be because he had the timing wrong, but it may just be because whatever causes it to do the same effect the first 2 times. So there we go, incendiary leather right arm this time. Now say I want a different item. This is the one nice thing about when you do have a legendary in this spot. They will always be legendary now, so I can reload that hard save before the flashback, and I'll guaranteed have him legendary now. I'm not sure when it determines exactly if one of these guys is going to be a legendary or not. I thought it was when you very first entered, but then I reloaded an autosave at one point during testing, and it changed from not being legendary to one of them being legendary. So make a quick save. um, so I tested a few times trying making saves as I came down, and I first saved at the first spot that you run into raiders, and then I saved at the top of the steps before you come into by Bedlam. So lucky combat rifle. So not bad, but say I want something different. Reload my quick save. So I saved at the first spot you run into raiders. I saved at the top of the steps by Bedlam, and then I saved just before opening that chained door, and tried reloading multiple times at each one of those spots, and it didn't change. It was always one of them was legendary. So it must decide either at some point before the first group of raiders or right away when at the autosave. So but like I said, once you have a legendary here, they're always going to be legendary, so that is nice. So rapid combat rifle this time, so not bad. And then another thing, when you get to this point, you want to hop in the water here and go down this tunnel, because down here, and there's a couple glowing funguses you can grab, which is always nice. 2 there and 1 here. And then over here is the legendary weapon Krem's Tooth. I think that's how it's pronounced. And it's a decent weapon. Definitely looks awesome. And you get a couple mini nukes and some more glowing funguses. Fungi. So don't pass that up. Make sure you grab that. And then getting out of the water can be tricky sometimes. You gotta kind of jump. Gamma. There we go. Okay. So now we'll continue back to those circuit breakers that I skipped. And it's really personal preference as to how much time you want to spend if you want to farm those extra guys or not. So, but heading back here, this circuit breaker, when you flip it, 3 ghouls spawn up here at the top of that ramp. So before you flip it, you want to make a hard save, or manual save, whichever you'd prefer to call it. And then when you flip these circuit breakers, the lights come on and they click, which is nice. It gives you a nice little countdown. So you want to make a quick save right at or about, like right after the 3rd click of the lights. So 1, 2, 3, quick save. And then what that's doing, and this is kind of an explanation of loot locking in general, what that's doing is it's locking in, it's interrupting the load. Okay, there's no legendary, so I'm gonna go ahead and reload the hard save. It locks in, well, it interrupts the loading process. So the way the game loads them in, or loads a legendary in, is first it checks, okay, what kind of enemies can spawn here. In this case, it's ghouls. Any ghouls can spawn here, or ferals. Then it'll check, okay, is one of them going to be a legendary? And there's a percentage chance based on a number of things. 1, 2, 3, quick save. And then once it has determined there's a legendary, it'll pick a weapon or armor piece. Okay, no legendary again, so I'll go ahead and reload the hard save again. And then after it's picked the weapon or armor, then it will pick the prefix from your loot pool, and your loot pool at any given time doesn't have every type of legendary item in it. It'll have a list, and as you get legendary items, it removes that effect from the list. So you can't get the same legendary effect until you've gone through and refreshed your loot pool. Now, I'm not sure on what exactly causes the loot pool to refresh. I know that once you get through all of the effects on either a weapon or armor, that it will change it. Okay, none of them again are legendary, so reload. This is taking a while. Once you get all the way through and there's no more left for either weapon or armor, once it tries to load a weapon or armor and it doesn't have a prefix to choose, that will refresh your loot pool. It's out there too. Some people say that it has to do with your level, that when you level up your loot pool changes. I don't know if that's true or not. But 1, 2, 3. Timing it the way that I am is interrupting that loading process to where it's already chosen what item they're going to have, but not yet chosen the prefix on that item. Okay, now we got a legendary finally. And so that's why it's called loot locking, because you're locking in that piece of loot, but not the arm, or not the effect yet. So he's got an acrobat's leather left leg. Not bad. Now I already have the the free fall armor from mass fusion building, so I really don't need acrobats. So I'll, just to show it's loot locked, reload the quick save. And with how small my loot pool is right now for armor, it's quite possible I could end up with the acrobats again, but if I do, I'll reload again and just show that, you know, I'll go until I get something different. I know that I also had cunning, incendiary, and punishing in my loot pool. Oh, and sprinters for legs. Nice. So hopefully I'm not babbling too much and I'm making sense. It can be kind of difficult to keep track of, you know, what I'm talking about. So there we go, sprinters, leather left leg. It can be kind of difficult to keep track of what I'm saying as I play, so, and you know, I have to interrupt myself to describe what's going on, but hopefully I'm not babbling too much. You guys let me know if I'm doing okay or doing horrible in the comments. So next spot you're gonna come to will be this one if you didn't do it the first time through, and same deal, make a hard save before flipping the switch. And this is also where you want to be careful, you know, not to go too far forward after that flashback, because the lights are initially on, and if you come, I'm pretty sure you can get up to about like right here, but if you go beyond that, that group that spawns with these lights on will spawn in, and then you'll miss the chance to loot lock them. So I made my hard save. 1, 2, 3, quick save. Interrupt that process. And this spawns 4 ghouls over here. Let's see if we end up with a legendary or not. Nope, no legendary, so we'll reload the hard save. 3, quick save. I happened to stumble upon this. um, no legendary again, so I'll just skip killing them and reload the hard save again. Yeah, I happened to stumble on this. I had autosaves from leaving the Pip-Boy turned on, and I flipped a switch and then went into my Pip-Boy and came out of it, and it autosaved at that point, and it didn't get it that time, but it gave me the idea to try it. 3, quick save. And that's how I ended up finding out, although, okay, we got a legendary. It is known, I guess. I mean, I'm not the first one to discover that you can lock them in this way, but I did not know about it, and I didn't know about this area, so I decided I'll make videos. And once I figured out all 7 places that you can do it, I figured, okay, I'll make one big video that covers all 7 of them. So he's got an explosive 44 pistol. So that's pretty nice, but just to show it's loot locked, I'll load the quick save. I'll try to be quick on these too. I know this is going to end up already being a pretty long video and kind of tends to get a little repetitive, so I do apologize for it. And I'm pretty new yet to making videos for YouTube, so you guys don't be too harsh, please. But if you have any good tips for me, if you're a YouTuber and you have any tips on things I could do better, I'm open to constructive criticism. Just try not to be a jerk about it. Alright, where is he? That was the first legendary. Here he is. Okay, a poisoners this time, so there you go. Proof it's loot locked. And there's a circuit breaker here also, which turns on lights, but it doesn't spawn any new enemies. And you will, at that point, then trigger these guys all getting up. So I just skipped turning it on. So the next spot is up here, and these 3, they can or cannot be legendary, or, you know, will or will not, whatever, but they are not loot lockable. So if you end up with one being legendary, then it's just more bonus loot for you. Just hopefully it doesn't eat up a nice effect that you want for your weapon or armor. Alright, so this circuit breaker only flips 2 lights, or the lights only click twice, so you gotta kinda just go with the rhythm on it and time your quick save. It's a little trickier to time though, but make sure you make your hard save first. And then just like the others, flip it. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, you just gotta kinda go with the rhythm on that one. And then when you come down here, it spawns 2 enemies up there, and you want to stay back near this wall when you shoot, because there is flammable material on this ramp that explodes at some point when you shoot, usually. And it seems that standing back here by this wall, you're safe. You're not in the explosive radius. Not that it hurts really bad when you do get caught in the explosion, but you know, not taking damage is always good. So Mutant Slayer's pack stuffed right leg. So I'll go ahead and reload the quick save to show you that it's locked in. Now every now and then too at this spot, and okay, this time it's punishing pack stuffed right leg, so there you go, proof it's locked. At this spot and another spot I've had, let's see, I think it was up here at the last spot, I've had them fall through the floor when I killed them, so that kind of sucks. So you can reload your quick save at that point if you know it was legendary. You got 2 ghouls laying on the floor up here, which may or may not be legendary. Then there's another circuit breaker here. Doesn't trigger any enemies though. I leave it off usually just because I have the night vision perk and tends to get too bright. There's a raider body down there in the corner hiding down there too you can loot. And then up here at the top of the stairs there's always a guy. And then this circuit breaker is the final, the 7th loot lockable spot. So just like the others, you make your hard save before flipping it. And then by now you should know the deal. Flip it. 1, 2, 3. Quick save. This one spawns 3 ghouls up here at the end of the hallway, or whatever you want to call this, walkway, whatever. What the hell? Gotta love those little Fallout 4 quirks, huh? I don't know if he's on the stairs or what. That's great. Yeah, this one I've had fall through the floor also. And then there's a... Okay, what's he got? Blazing Knuckles. So, I definitely don't want Knuckles. But there is also one more trap here. And it's on the side of this explosives box. Tension trigger here with a grenade bouquet up above. So, go ahead and reload that hard save. It's too bad with the PlayStation 4 you guys can't see my saves. You'd see when I'm loading the hard save or quick save, but it's... whatever. One, two, three. Quick save. Doo-doo-doo. Nice shooting there, Tex. Alright, got a legendary again. For the most part, these places spawn quite a few legendaries. So, Stalker's Hardened Sniper Rifle. So, say I'm looking for a sniper rifle, but not the Stalkers. Reload the quick save. And this is a good place too to come to just burn through some of your loot pool if you don't have a prefix that you want. Like say you've already picked up your sharp armor piece and you want to burn through your loot pool to refresh it. It's a good spot to come to because there's, 7 of them, or up to. You're guaranteed 5 with the circuit breakers. So, well, technically 4 with the circuit breakers and then the 1 with the flashback. But without having to start all over, you can get up to 5 of them. There you go, Steadfast Hardened Sniper Rifle. So there you go, that's 7 places in Dunwich BORERS that you can loot lock. And like I said, you don't want to just run over here right away and get your stuff because they're all leveled to your level. So, you know, if you pay attention when I'm in VATS, you'll see they're all level 134, just like I am, or at least all the charred feral ghouls or whatever they're called. The normal feral ghouls and like your feral reavers or whatever, those guys are all set levels. But all of the charred ones, there you go, explosive hardened sniper rifle. All the charred ones are leveled to your level, so that's, you know, it's a great spot to come to farm for your high level stuff as long as you wait to come here until you are a high level. Level 50 and higher, I believe, is when the good stuff starts to show up. So hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully you got a nice new place to farm now. If you've already run through it before, you know, it'll help you on your next playthrough. And I do intend to make another video when I come back here after the enemies have respawned, because I am pretty sure you can still loot lock here and farm. It's just the timing is different as to when when you need to make your saves and, you know, where exactly you need to save. So see, level 134, 85 ballistic resistance, 140 electric or energy, whatnot. So you get the idea. What's he got this time? Incendiary leather right arm. I was hoping to get something cool, but that's okay. So yeah, come here, get all your nice high level stuff. Leave me some comments. Let me know if this helped you. Let me know if you came in here and ended up getting something you liked. If you are a YouTuber or you have any tips for me as to how I can make better videos, if I talk too much or not enough, or, you know, if I'm too all over the place, just whatever. I'm always open to suggestions. But yeah, other than that, I mean, happy farming. Everybody have a good day. Talk to you later.